Look, I got no idea what I'm doing. I don't know who put me in charge of this thing. Terrible idea. Alright, we're gonna try this. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but if not, tough shit. So just rolled on to this next job. We're in Manlius, Illinois. So excavator's out. But we're gonna go through and try and clean up pond edge, and hopefully at some point in time we wind up down close to the bottom there. We're only going to do this back half of the property, so I got better drone video. Tyler,
how you doing?
But we're gonna only do the back half. Customer wants to leave a little bit of block from the road, so we are going to try and get running. Gonna get some stuff cleaned up, get stuff ready to run, and we'll be back. Alright, well, not so sure how well you can hear me, but we're gonna give this a go. So played musical machines this morning. Fecon back to took the skid steer back to Vermeer. That demo's over. This up. This was in for service. When they set the head up, they didn't have one fitting. They didn't have the right fitting that we wanted to use, and they had ordered one. It came in forever ago, and I just honestly haven't stopped working long enough to drop the machine off. So while we had the skid steer for the demo, swap machines so that they could change that fitting out and go through and set all the pressures and everything again. So pick this thing up. Like I said, dropped the skid steer off this morning, picked this thing up, and then straight from there to the job site. So try and get you guys some footage. You're gonna see a new guy appearing in the videos. So it's not just me you got to deal with now. His name's Tyler. Started with us a few weeks ago, but it's just kind of getting his feet wet, getting the hang of things, getting used to being around the machines and what we do. So you'll kind of see him roaming around in the background of videos while we're on sites. Right now, just have him doing some groundwork. Kind of want him to get used to, one, being around the equipment while it's running, and I want him to get kind of a bird's eye view of how we do things and why we do things a certain way, because to most people it doesn't always make sense. To me it doesn't always make sense, but you gotta kind of work with what you're given and work in areas and layers, and unfortunately it's not always cut and dry and easy. So him to hopefully have a chance to get comfortable with stuff before he gets thrown into the mix. Ideally, my goal is to get him in a skid steer at some point where we can have both machines running on the same job, or even on different jobs would be real nice when we have the option. But the excavator is a great tool. It's great at what it does, but finish isn't as good as the skid steer, just for the simple fact that the skid steer, being mounted so close to the machine, it's a lot more rigid than what this head is all the way out at the end of the boom. So when you start doing finish work, it's a lot easier to kind of lock that head to the ground and force the material back through the drum, where this thing tends to want to bounce and ride the highs and lows. reach. That's just the nature of how the machine's set up, but we couldn't do what we do without it. The reach is critical on a lot of our jobs, and so ideally having both machines on jobs where we can utilize them both will really speed things up. We can use the excavator to rough out material. Should be less wear and tear on the head trying to reach for stuff and push it into the ground just to get the material that we want to get. And then it'll be easier on the skid steer, not having to reach up, get the head way off the ground and send a bunch of material flying into the window, just so that we can clear to the height that we want to clear to. So if we use both for what they're good at, hopefully make life a lot easier on all of us. And like I said, get some of these jobs done faster, because the skid steer can definitely cover more ground than what the excavator can as far as speed goes. So at some point in time, that'll be Tyler's home on wheels, but for right now, I don't want to throw him into the middle of that without understanding kind of our process and why we do things the way we do them and where you can and can't put machines. So it's just kind of a unique world to be in, and I don't want to set him up for failure. So plus on a lot of these jobs, it is nice having somebody that can do the groundwork and we always got fences to deal with and all of those kind of things, so being able to have him kind of taking care of that stuff, just knocking it down where the machine can get to it safely, and little finishing touches that keep customers happy while the machines are running is definitely a bonus. Try this again. So finally remembered my other GoPro case, so hopefully the sound is a little better. I'm not sure how the video yesterday is going to sound, but he's got some cool footage. Otherwise just kind of trucking right along. So we had to kind of play musical machines yesterday morning, running some stuff around and kind of taking care of some errands and little stuff like that. Had to pick this up at the dealership for Mir Midwest. They had gone and done some just some updates on the head. When we originally set the machine up, one of the fittings wasn't the one they wanted, so got that swapped out. They've actually been sitting on the fitting forever, basically since I got the machine, and finally told me I didn't have a choice. I needed to bring it in when I was running stuff around. Other than that, like, they know me well enough to know that I'd have kept working and putting it off. So they finally told me it was time just to get it done, and worked out good. So they came in and got that taken care of, checked some stuff over, just the usual PM kind of stuff. So after picking this up, I think it was probably around noon before we got here yesterday, so, or actually got set up and close to running anyway. I think it was a hair earlier than that when I actually got here. So this project, we're not actually going all the way around the pond. Customer wants to leave a little bit of a buffer facing the road. I think they're going to put like a little tiny house kind of cabin up in here, and hopefully make it a cool little getaway spot. So want to leave that natural buffer on the north side of the pond. So we're kind of doing the south section of the bowl just to open it up and clean it up. You know, if he's gonna have family and kids out here playing around, they want to make as much usable space as possible. So that is why we are here. But really awesome property. I got some cool drone footage of it, and I'm not sure that this started out with the intention of being a pond. My guess is at some point in time it was a borrow pit for another project, and eventually just filled up with water. Because there's some old farm equipment buried around the edges, and the pond itself isn't, I don't know how deep it is in the center. I don't think it's super deep anywhere in the whole pond. Right now is not exactly a good marker, because most ponds in our area are down 3 to 5 feet, honestly, with the drought this summer and everything else going on. So it's even now a lot lower than what I would say it would normally be. But the drone footage will show that it's actually a pretty awesome property. And this guy definitely doesn't have a problem coming out here and putting work in. So I would say it's not going to be very long before he has this turned into a pretty amazing little oasis. So that'll be cool. I'm kind of hoping that as time goes on, we get some update pictures from him and kind of showing off what he ends up doing, because like I said, it is a pretty cool property. And I know with the tillable around it, you know, most of the year it'll be locked in, and I don't know that you really ever see much of the property. Obviously you can see the standing timber from the road, but the pond itself is down in a bowl with the natural buffer in place. It's a cool little spot. right now, this machine is doing a regen, so I'm trying to take it a little easy and keep it working steady. This machine is, I want to say it's listed at like 74 horsepower, so it's under the DEF regulations. So when this thing does regens, it doesn't burn DEF, but it burns off basically fuel inside of the particulate filter to create the heat for the regen. So still got emissions crap to deal with. That's unfortunately just the way it is anymore, but at least it's not DEF. Need to figure out how or where to get down. I'm trying to clean all the way down to the pond's edge on a lot of this stuff. And this one section over here is probably going to be biggest challenge, because he's got a point down here that at some point in time he's looking at building like a walking bridge across from one point to another. I gotta try and figure out how to get the machine down there to get it cleared. The right way, I'll say. If possible, I don't want to have to hand cut and drag all that stuff. But since this wasn't originally built as a pond, the edges are, or the banks are a little on the soft side in a lot of areas. That's why I said I don't think it was ever intentionally built as a pond. I think it was a borrow pit. So they just dug out what they wanted. And then yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get the machine down to there. Unfortunately, that's probably gonna have to be hand cut. All right, getting machines fired up this morning. Truck, excavator. Tyler's already down here hacking away, but I'm going to show you a little bit of what we did yesterday. Actually got quite a jump on it, way more than what I was really expecting. But all this opened up. He's going through and really getting all the stuff that the machine can't grab. And So yesterday, we got quite a bit accomplished. That whole corner over there. Still got some work to do on this point, but that's kind of where we wrapped up yesterday afternoon. There's Tyler playing in the trees. Yeah, not bad for a quick jump start in the afternoon.